All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I am your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody is doing well today on this beautiful Wednesday. Um, yeah. As always, let's make sure we turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. It's been a interesting week, but we want to make sure that we start off by taking massive action. And then action stands for accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome, setting yourself body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading, trusting your education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. Imagine your trade successfully materializing, obeying your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. Um, so it's been turn my camera off for this. It's been an interesting week. Interesting start of the week, to say the least. And let me do this so you guys can see me. Um, we got some exciting news, good people. Um, can you guys hear me okay? Just to make sure I don't have anything extra going on. Can you guys hear me okay? Drop me one in the chat. Yes, perfect. Appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to take you guys back to last year. Last year, it's around June. I think it was mid-June. We woke up one morning and our original YouTube channel that we had since 2020, 2021, almost 800 videos, 900 subscribers, was deleted. We didn't know why, didn't have a clear explanation of what was happening. We sent an appeal and we didn't get a response. So fired up a new YouTube channel, started moving with that, just rebuilding. And as you guys know, last week, that second YouTube channel got taken down. We started streaming on Twitch, starting to build a Twitch community. We'll see how that goes. But Ben and I were just brainstorming and figuring out how we can continue to build our community with some sort of additional social outlet and how we could get things on track from that perspective. And so we reached back out to YouTube and just trying to get some sort of clarity on what was going on, what was happening. We explained the situation and we got our original channel back. So super excited. We have a YouTube platform again. Here's the in between, right? So we got the original channel back. So all of those old videos, you guys can go back and watch, right? They're available now. You can go back and watch them. Everything should work just fine. We still have a gap though. We have a gap from June of last year until last week. We have that gap that we're working to fill. So we're working to continue this conversation with YouTube to get that channel restored so we can get those videos migrated over to the new channel so that we don't have that gap for you guys. And we also have the videos and the content that we have, because we have well over a thousand videos that we want to make sure that we have all access to, and that you guys have all access to as well, to go back, watch replays, and to be able to see how things have played out over time. So we're still working to have that conversation, but we're super excited. We got the original channel back. Now we're working to get that second channel back so that we can continue to grow this community and continue to expand our reach to be able to impact more people and help more people in the space. So you'll see in the community, the link for the replay is there, and it's coming from the original channel. So appreciate you guys and you guys being flexible with us, you guys hanging with us, and giving suggestions on different outlets that we can use to to continue to be able to put content out into the world. So thank you guys. We appreciate you. Yeah. So that's where we are. Benny, good morning, bro.
Ryan, good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
Oh man, doing great. Always glad to be here with the crew.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got any thoughts on the YouTube situation? Anything additional to add there?
Man, just glad it's back. just, just glad it's back. It never made any sense to us, you know. Um, who knows what the algorithm is made up of and how they make the decisions, but it was wrong. But I'm glad as it's been rectified. So that's it,
Yeah.
man.
Yes,
That's
sir.
it. So
Yes, sir.
yep.
Cool
So the
deal.
mess is over.
Yes. 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 All right. Cool deal. Appreciate you, bro. Um, so let's dive in, man. We will get to the fundamentals and then we'll get through as many charts as we can. Take a look at what's going on across the world. We missed yesterday. Also, yesterday, right? My internet was out. Benny was having issues with his charts. It was a whole big ordeal. So, Donette, thank you for jumping in, hosting a session in the community for the team, going over some trade setups and ideas and having a conversation. We greatly appreciate you for stepping up and doing that. High five to you. We appreciate you big time for continuing to bring the value. Yeah, drop some sevens in the chat for Donette. Continue to bring the value to the team um, in creative ways, right? And we encourage all of you. Anything that we're totally open to ideas that you guys have on ways that we can continue to enhance the community, the experience. We're all ears, right? So Benny says it all the time: teamwork makes the dream work, and we totally 100% believe that. So um, continue to jump in and bring that value. So all right, so here we go. Uh, Fundamentally, right? We'll talk about recent stuff, then we'll hop over to the calendar, look at things from the past couple of days as well. So German business confidence hits 11-month high. Um, Indicator rose for the third consecutive month to 89 in April, reaching its highest level since May 2023, surpassing expectations, driven by growing anticipation of the potential interest rate cuts by the ECB and a gradual easing of inflationary pressures. So Germany, largest member in the Eurozone, good to see confidence coming out of them. Uh, Italy, on the other hand, consumer confidence unexpectedly falls. So you got a back and forth there, but like I said, Germany's the largest partner there. So that's how things are going. We also had tons of earnings start to roll out, and due to corporate updates, you saw shares in the stocks 50 in Europe extend its gains. All right. So we got that going on there. That's the most recent stuff from this morning. Let's go over to the calendar and talk further updates here. Boom. Excuse me. So going back to Monday, not a ton happened there. Flash PMI for the Aussie, excuse me, came at above the previous month. You had manufacturing PMI for Japan on Monday came in above expectation, right? So looking at these inflation numbers in Japan, um, we'll talk more about this as we continue throughout the week. But um, governor of the BOJ, he said if they see inflation numbers continue to track toward 2%, they could add another cut into add another rate increase into their conversation. So the market is taking that into account now, but manufacturing PMI above expectation. We had PMI come out of the Eurozone yesterday, and we had some mixed data, right? French PMI came in, the manufacturing came in below, services came in above. Germany, same deal. Manufacturing came in below, services came in above. on the PMI factor. Then we had PMI for the flash PMI for the pound, which also was mixed. Manufacturing down, services up. Then for the United States, we had the PMI numbers, both manufacturing and services, come in below expectation, right? So you're starting to get people then start talking about, oh, there's still a potential for the Fed to cut rates because this PMI number came in below expectation. Then last night you had services PPI for the Japanese yen come in above expectation at 2.3, right? So we're seeing these numbers in Japan start to tick up into that 2% range. We'll continue to monitor that. But CPI for the Aussie came in above expectation, right? In some cases, well above expectation. So you saw a boost in the Aussie, right? Pushed really all those Aussie pairs to the upside and then the cross to the downside. But they moved in the way that we anticipated, right? So, but inflation conversations starting to be had potentially a little bit differently. Some of the investors looking at potentially the RBA holding rates, having the same or similar tone to the U.S. higher for longer, as the fight for bringing inflation down continues to trek on. So we had that yesterday. And we'll take a look at the charts there and see what's going on. And then this morning, right, not a ton happening. On the data front, we talked about the morale. 8:30 today, retail sales for the Canadian dollar. Right, those could be some big numbers. Could give us some volatility on the Canadian dollar side. Core durable goods orders for the United States also at 8:30. Later, crude oil inventories also today. And then Bank of Canada meeting minutes, summary of deliberations from their previous rate conversation. That could also give us some insight into the conversations coming out of the Bank of Canada, right? And move that Canadian pairs in one direction or the other there. Tomorrow, we got GDP and unemployment claims for the United States. Investors are looking at these numbers to see where the GDP falls to give more insight on where the economy currently stands. We also have pending home sale prices tomorrow for the United States. Tomorrow evening, we got core CPI for Tokyo at 7:30, and then we have the Bank of Japan monetary policy and rate statement tomorrow night. It's always tentative, but generally around 11:30 is when that comes out. This is going to be interesting. What we're looking for the Bank of Japan is, do they give any insight on future rate cuts? Do they have more of a hawkish tone in their conversation than they did last month? And what are they looking at? Because they're also talking about the potential of increasing the inflation projections from 2% to 2.4 or 2.6 as where inflation will top out. So if that conversation is the bulk of the conversation, is more of a hawkish tone to the Bank of Japan in their statement and in the press conference that follows, we could see the yen pair start to take back some of those losses that they've had. You also had finance minister chirp in yesterday again, reiterating conversations that they had with the during the IMF meetings last week. What happened during those meetings is United States, Japan, and I forget the other country. There was another country that they basically are in agreement that the weakness in those currencies isn't good. And they kind of made a pact that Japan and I can't remember the other country that it was, but not the Philippines, somewhere, but an emerging nation. But the United States is on board with them using South Korea. South Korea. Yes, thank you, Benit. Appreciate that. They're all on board with South Korea and Japan using the tools necessary to intervene in the market when they deem it's necessary. So the United States won't try to stop them from doing it. They won't have any backlash toward that. So they're all in agreement on that. So if as the week moves on Thursday into Friday, where we have core PCE data for the United States, if we see the yen continue to push to the upside, you could see them step in, seeing as now they have agreement from other countries that things are getting a little escalated from that perspective. So that was the conversation. So inching closer, but likely be after the conversation here tomorrow night with the Bank of Japan and their rate statement to see if that is enough to start to stem the tide a little bit. But if it's not, and we see a push to the upside come Friday with PCE data and consumer sentiment, the revised U of M consumer sentiment, then we could see the Bank of Japan step in, be it Friday or over the weekend, which generally is when they step in, to see then shifts in the market come Sunday afternoon Eastern time. So that's it from a fundamental perspective. I know it was a lot. Benny, anything else top of mind for you, bro?
No, sir, not really. Tesla up 12% yesterday.
Yeah, they
So
so they were diving because they were going through another round of layoffs, 10%. Um, but what else did you see there? Did you see
no,
what?
just different earnings coming out. You know,
Yeah,
gave it a boost and things like that. So just good day for the market yesterday. We know
yeah,
we're in the middle of a correction. So but from a technical perspective, you know, those 80-20s playing out on the indices and coming into, you know, major support levels that we called out, we see we got to bounce, you know. So just continuing to watch the earnings data come out. That's all. Other than that,
yes,
you covered everything, man. Great job.
appreciate it. On that Tesla tip, they are researching. You see on the 4 hour, we got an 80-20 scenario here. They're researching um cheaper materials. We got 80-20 scenario here on Tesla on the 4, right? Starting to get a bounce there. But that's the one of the things I saw is they're researching cheaper materials to be able to affordably make cheaper vehicles, right? Instead of just cutting the cost, they want to be able to make them at a lower price to then be able to sell them at a lower price as well. So the market definitely liked that news. So we shall see what happens here if we're able to put in a low. All right, we already got a swing low that formed there. See if we get a track back to the upside on Tesla. All right. Team, any questions from you guys from a fundamental perspective? Nope. Nope. All right. Cool deal. Here we are on the DXY, right? We know we pushed back above that daily level last week, and we're getting a retracement now, right? We're getting a pullback now. So in the up retracement zone on the sub fib, this is our capital fib, and we're looking to see what happens with the dollar if we're able to make our way back to this 107.23 and potentially above. So we're watching that. We're in this up retracement zone now. So we're pulling back, could come back to 104.852, retest the level that it broke through before we get another continuation to the upside on the dollar. We'll see how the data comes out over the next couple of days and what the conversation looks like. Also continue to watch the wars and how those develop. You had the U.S. approve budget for more support to Ukraine in their fight against Russia. So, and that included some funds for Taiwan as well, as Taiwan continues to prepare for potential battles against China, which the United States has stepped in and said that they will support Taiwan. They've had that stance for a few years now, but they're also sending monetary aid that way as well, and that could cause some other conversations with China. China wasn't the happiest about that budget approval, and they did make that known also. So we'll continue to see how those things go in the Middle East. Tensions have subdued for now with Iran and Israel, but Israel is picking up some of their attacks on the Gaza Strip. So there's still some tensions there, still brewing, and we'll continue to monitor those as well as we continue to move. All right, so that's the DXY pulling back. Like I said, we could see that continue to move back down to the downside. Over to the dollar yen, as we've been watching this trek to the upside. Here we are on the 4. Continue to push long. We got our shallow retracement here. We're looking for 156. All right. Definitely expect price to push into that 156 range. Some investors think that it could push higher than that, potentially into the 160 area and higher. We'll see. I don't know if the Bank of Japan will allow price to get that high, but we got an 80-20 scenario here on the 4 in this 156 range that we will continue to monitor as price pushes to the upside. Here on the daily time frame, take one step back. Yeah, one step back, we also have 80-20 scenario here between 157 and 159, right? So we could push a bit higher, potentially maybe get to 160 if we get to the 80-20 scenario on the daily time frame. So we'll watch that closely as well as things continue to progress. We'll come back now and get to the 1 hour. And thought I had a fib running here. Maybe not. Uh-oh. What happened? That was not okay. So no fib running there. So let's run these real quick on the 1. Oh. Oops. And there we go. All right. So on the 1 hour, here we're on the 1-8. We're pushing to the D extension here on the 1. So we'll likely hit that D extension at 155, continue the trek to the upside, and then this is that 80-20 scenario on the 4 hour and potentially the daily as well. All right, so that is the dollar yen. Any questions there? Still patiently waiting, allowing that one just to ride up as far as it's going to go.
Nope, no questions.
All right, cool deal. Let's go over to the Aussie CAD, 80-20 that we talked about last weekend over the weekend, right? We'll come to the daily. We still have this crown pattern, seeing if it's going to play out, right? Got a nice pullback here after the strong move to the downside. So we're in a retracement zone. As we move down to the 4 hour, we'll zoom out. There's our capital fib, right? So you see we got some back and forth. We got a down fib on the daily. We got an up fib on the 4. So we got some back and forth happening, and you see the range just playing out. So I also ran sub fibs to the upside just to track the move, and that move to the downside took out the A on the sub fib. So now we're in this retracement phase here. We did break above with the news yesterday. We broke above this this level here, which was a 4 hour support, right? We broke above that, and now we're pulling back at 88,942. So we'll watch this and see how things develop, and see if this upward momentum continues, at least in the short term. Okay. Yeah, so that's where we are on the 4. Come down to the 1 where that 80-20 was, and boom, right? Beautiful move. Got to that TP2 level, beautiful way, and now we're pulling back. So what we could potentially see here, right, is a potential crown pattern form, and another push to the upside, at least in the short term. Right? We took out the A, see if we get a retracement here, and then potentially continuation higher, either in the zone or taking out that A and kind of continuing this range that we've been in, right? So we'll watch that and see what happens on this move here. But keep that in the back of your mind as a potential of a higher push here on the Aussie CAD before we get a move back down to the downside on that continuation of the higher time frame. So I do have that in the back of my mind, but this 80-20 scenario played out beautifully, right? And so it's something that we expected. Boom, 100 pips to the upside to that TP2 level. If you took that either on Friday or when the market opened Sunday, Monday, right, to the upside there. So beautiful move. Yeah, so that's the Aussie CAD. So now we're waiting to see what happens if we get another push to the upside, or do we, I know we're just sliding right now, a little flag pattern to the downside, but do we turn over and make our way back down at some point? All right. Questions on the Aussie CAD?
Nope, that's some beautiful price action.
It is, it is, it is. And it is beautiful how things just move in line with the sequence, right? The catalyst came after we had our buy signal, right? And the catalyst came just to push that through TP2, right? With that Aussie data last night. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. All right, no questions. Cool deal. Aussie Swiss. Aussie Swiss is continuing to track to the upside, right? Ben was on top of this one. I was on the 4, right? Boom. Continuing to track to the upside. We got the 786 retracement, that wick down that we saw last week, right? Took us out on the 1 hour, but stayed inside this AB boundary on the 4. And then you see the move to the upside. We got a break of the cloud now, right? And we're pulling back. We're bullish on the cloud ahead. So with the Swissy being in the state that it's in, being more on the dovish side, earlier rate cuts, we'll see how things continue to track on. But with a weak Swissy, we could see this one continue to move to the upside. We had a daily and weekly level here that we also broke through. So we'll look for pullbacks and continuations here on this move, all right? But that cloud break, and we're bullish on the cloud ahead, right? And we got our crossover here. So in price broke back above the Tinkins and the Kijisen. So we're moving long, right? So clean indication here on the 4 hour that we're looking for pullbacks and continuations on the lower time frame. All right. Again, if you guys have not had a chance to jump into the training, that cloud training is available for you guys to take a look at and get a clear understanding of the cloud, how it works, and how to be able to implement that into your trading plan. All right. So we come here to the 1, and I'm going to look at these to the downside. Yeah, that's what I thought. So we'll run the fib off the low here. Not there. Right there. Boom. There we go. Right. So here we are. 80-20 scenario on the 1 hour. Right. But it makes sense looking at pullbacks and continuations after that cloud break. Right. So we got an 80-20 here on the Aussie Swiss. Looking for a low price for this continuation to the upside. Right. So we'll look for that. Depending on how you want to play this, look for a trend line break, or potentially I'll drop the cloud on here on the 1 and see where it stands. But there's your trend line there. Okay, we got our consolidation happening now. So we'll look for a retracement opportunity there to get back long. So depending on what your trading plan says, if you trade these 80-20s, the extension level is 59,748. Depending on what your trading plan says, right? Trade this retracement, no doubt. Trade this retracement or wait for a low price to get back long, right? Stop loss 42 pips with that stop above the D, right? At 382 is sitting at 60, around 60 pips, right? So almost 1.5-ish, 1.5 to 1, right? So that's the Aussie Swiss. questions here?
Nope, but we were coming out of Saturday, right? And we identified the pattern with the two major safe haven currencies, right? In the Swiss and the yen. They all gave us a strong down move because of the risk off scenario because of what was happening in the Middle East. And
Yes.
so we deployed down trend lines on Saturday and said it's either going to continue down and retest the lows, or we're going to break trend line and we're going to continue long. So with a lot of the, Swissy pairs, yen pairs, you saw the pattern play out pretty much across the board.
Across the board. Yes, sir. Appreciate that, bro. And we did, right? And it's it's beautiful how the sequence works. Right. I can't say that enough. Right. The fundamentals align beautifully. Uh Gives us the catalyst, and then we allow the rest to play out, right? And that's where the patience comes in. It's just allowing things to flow how they flow. Um, to look for the next catalyst, right? We had safe haven catalyst to push us to the downside. We'll see what the next catalyst is to give us a retracement and then a continuation. All right. Appreciate it, bro. Aussie yen continuing to track long, right? Continuing to track long. Pressing to the upside, we got a daily extension at 104, 443. We got a monthly resistance level at 102, 847. So this continues to respect that trend line, right? And Benny's been tracking this one to the upside as well. And it until the Bank of Japan changes their tone, right? We'll see this one continue to move to the upside. Okay. So we'll continue to watch and see how far it goes. But respecting the trend line, we get pullbacks and we're getting continuations to the upside. Okay, come down to the 4. And here we are on the 4. We got a 50% retracement on that risk off sentiment there. And then we push back to the upside. As Iran said, what Israel did wasn't a big deal, right? So seeing price move to the upside. So in this scenario, we're still looking for pullbacks and continuations to the upside until we get a catalyst that tells us something different, right? So we come down to the 1, and this is what that looked like on the 1. Whoops. So we're right. We got that push to that 382 level. Boom. And now we're moving back long. Okay. So we had an 80-20 here. Push, TP1 hit, move back to the upside. Right. So that D extension comes in at 102, 216, just inside that monthly resistance level. Right. So doesn't matter the time frame, doesn't matter the pair, right? We get that motion. So that's that action Benny was talking about on the Swissies and the yens. Got the push down, got us to that TP1, and now we're continuing to the upside. Okay, so that's where we're set on the Aussie yen. Continue to track long. We're pulling back. Look for pullbacks and continuations to the upside. Right, if we trade this on the lower time frames, right, you can come down to your 5 or your 15. Look for reach trades on the 30, right? They're here on the 30-minute, with your fibs running to the upside here. Okay. So looking for a low price and a continuation, but you see the cloud break, right? Cloud break, continuation to the upside. So now just looking for pullback, retest this level 100, 152, right? 50%, potentially push a little deeper to that 618 level, and then look for a continuation here on the 30. Boom. Like that. All right. Questions on the Aussie yen? Nope.
No, sir.
Cool deal. Aussie New Zealand. This one is interesting. All right. I'm interested to see how this plays out. You see here on the daily time frame, in that range. We broke above, that level should be there. Trying to break above the weekly resistance level here, right? Strong bullish move yesterday with the data out of Australia, right? So the move to the upside makes sense. Are we able to close above and stay long, right? That's the question on this Aussie New Zealand, right? This one is always interesting, bouncing back and forth. Here on the 4, we got our 80-20 scenario. We have not hit that D extension yet at 109.837, but we did push above the high, right? That's that weekly level that we broke above. See if we're able to stay above that level. Okay, see if we're able to stay above that level. If we are, then the D extension gets achieved. If we come back down and we have a strong bearish close, right, we could see this continue move to the downside, right? But if the stop gets hit, that's all right. Risk management is intact, and we just move on to the next, right? It's 48 pip stop loss, right? So we'll continue to monitor this one to see how it develops, to see if we get a catalyst to move this back down to the downside. Okay. So that's the setup on the 4 on that Aussie New Zealand. Come down to the 1. And this is the move on the 1, right? 618 retracement trying to make its way to the D extension at 110.335. Okay, so depending on the time frame you trade, we'll see how this one plays out. All right. So that's the Aussie New Zealand. I'm still tracking this one off of the 4, off of this 80-20 time, 80-20 setup here. Questions? No? Cool deal. Aussie dollar. All right, another that we talked about. 80-20 scenario played out beautifully. We'll start here on the 1-hour time frame. Boom. All right, talked about on Saturday, Thursday, we pushed down into that zone. We started to make that move back up. Okay, this is that risk off flight to safety, right? And then we got price start to make its way back to the upside. And then you see the continuation there on Sunday, right? So that 80-20, another one played out beautifully that we're watching through TP2. We're sitting at a 786, close to 86 retracement here on the 1, right? So we'll watch to see. We know the dollar is in retracement phase, right? So with that being the case, we could see another push to the upside here, right? And we'll see if we stay inside the AB boundary on the 1-hour time frame. But so we walk back to the 4. This is what that looks like, right? That 80-20 scenario on the 1 is a down retracement zone, right, on the 4. So we're pulling back. Another push to the upside will push us into the 618, 786 retracement zone on this 4-hour time frame, right? And this is what I'd love to see, right? Another push to the upside to get us in this range here, right? And then price to settle in. If we get that, right, in line with the fundamentals and dollar strength, I'll look to add to my short position on this for continuation down, right? I don't see the dollar continuing to stay weak. I don't see the conversation around rate cuts. They'll continue to try to put it in, but I don't see that happening, seeing as how the data is coming out. So just waiting on a high price to then be able to get back short. All right. So that's where we are on the Aussie dollar in this down retracement zone right now. All right. So continue to push to the upside. Questions on the Aussie dollar?
No.
Nope. All right. Cool deal. Cool. Cash Swiss. Another one playing out beautifully, right? That flight to safety here on the 1, right? Strong push to the downside. We have this 80-20 scenario here. Boom, strong push to the downside. Benny talked about this on Friday, right? And that opportunity to get back long. And you see, we got the continuation, right? We talked about on Saturday as well. Opportunity to continue to the upside here, making our way to on that C to D move to the upside, right? So that one is continuing to push long, and being that it's a Switzy, right? Expectation outside of more flights to safety, seeing this one just continue to give pullbacks and continuations to the upside to make its way to the matching D extension at 67,986. Right. So that one is pushing long in a beautiful way, and we'll continue to allow it to go. All right. So that's our C to D move on the one. As we come back to the 4, this is the larger move here. Right. We already got to a 382 on the 4-hour off the 80-20. Right. Now we're trying to see if we can get to that TP2 at 67,684. Right. So another push to the upside, get us to that level. Maybe we get to 68,335 and maybe beyond. Right. We'll continue to monitor that, but that's what we're looking for. So we got the beautiful pullback, retest, past resistance, became future support, and now we're pushing to the upside. Okay. So that's where we are on the Cash Swiss. That continuation is happening. Questions on this one? Anybody sitting in this one to the upside still?
Yep.
Yep. Joy too. Beautiful. Great work, you guys. Beautiful, right? Fundamentals are in alignment, right? So that path that Jeremy is on is tracking the fundamentals, and until the fundamentals change, just sitting in those positions, right? It's a beautiful game once you really learn it and understand it. It's a beautiful game. Great work. Drop some sevens in the chat for Benny and Joy. Patience pays. Cadien. Benny posted this in the community, right? It's making its way. Right? Matching D extension here at 114,343. Right? Does it happen? Yes, it does. Right? Was it 991 pips to the upside? They're there all the time, right? They're there all the time. Just got to learn the sequence. So we're making our way to the D extension. This one will likely get there. We'll likely get there. So continue to allow this one to push to the upside. If you're still sitting in this one, allow that thing to run, right? Allow it to run. Coming down to the 4, right? 4, we hit the 4-hour D extension off of the 8-6 retracement, right? So that was a beautiful scenario. And now, right, we're starting to get some confirmation, right? Some confluence on multiple time frames. So we got a D extension on the daily. Reese said, no way he's holding a trade for 4 months. Come on, man. We got 80-20 scenario here on the 4, right? Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, right? In line with that daily D extension. So when we get there, right, higher time frame extensions, 80-20, as we get down to lower time frames, do we see a retracement come, right? And is that in alignment with Bank of Japan, right? Donette said if it pays $1,000, she will. Yep. Jeremy's been holding that Euro GBP since February, just sitting patiently in it and allowing it to do its thing, right? And it's been paying out. It's beautiful. Great work, you guys. Great work. So here we are. Okay, so continue to be patient on this one, and we'll watch to see what happens at that D extension around 114, 105. Right? We'll see what happens as we get there. And we'll look for price to settle in, give us some consolidation, and then we'll look for a retracement. All right. So that's on the 4 down to the 1. Boom. We got an 80-20 here. However, be cautious because of, right, because of the fundamentals. Okay. So allow this one to do its thing. The higher time frames control the lower time frames, right? So be patient, be patient, be patient, and allow this one to develop, right? We gotta trying to get a break of the trend line here, right? We got to push to the downside. Excuse the noise in the background, guys. The dog is going to town on his bone. But we'll see what happens here. We're trying to get a retracement to come, but I am leaning more towards this one continuing to push to the upside and getting here first, right? So getting to that D extension, then pushing to that 118 and 127 zone on the 4, right? So you can drop your cloud on, give you a little more of a conservative view, right? If we stay above the cloud, allow it to stay above the cloud, right? So just play that with a little bit more caution. Few more confirmations, right? So that is the CAD yen. Questions on this one? No.
No.
All right. Sweet. Swiss yen. It's been running, right? It's been running, pushed back up to this 170 level. Wasn't able to close above, and you see price turning over now, right? So we got a nice retracement here. Now price is turning over. We'll see what type of move to the downside we get. Okay. Is this the beginning of a move down? Don't know. Could be a pullback after a strong move to the upside. And then there's potential for this one to continue back up to the top of the range. Okay, we could continue back up here into the 171, 172 range here, right? So just watch for that as we continue to move through, depending on how the Bank of Japan moves. Okay, so now coming down to the 4, right? This is your scenario. We got a 786 retracement. That matching extension is 173. Be interesting to see if we make new highs here or not. I don't know, both of these being safe havens, but I don't know if the Swissy has enough strength for that move. But if the Bank of Japan keeps this dovish tone, we could see it. Okay, so that is in the back of my mind, is another push to the upside, right? To get us to this matching D extension here. Okay, so watching for that there. Come down to the 1, you can see just the move to the downside. So watching this one to see what it does in the lower levels of this 1 hour fib. So if we take out the A, or if we stay inside the AB boundary, 78686 range, and then push back to the upside to get 171, 172. Okay, so that's what I'm watching for there. We'll see how things continue throughout the day though. Okay. Questions on the Swiss yen? Oh, all right. Cool deal. Euro Aussie. This one has been bouncing around, right? Daily time frame, we're trying to continue this move to the upside, right? Longer term swing, 618 level. Looking for price to push to the upside still. Okay. So we got some interesting action happening here. So we'll watch. We got another pullback back into this range here. Okay. Still haven't been able to break below 163, 479. So we're still holding, right? We come down to the 4. And here we are on the 4, right? There's our capital AB boundary. 618 retracement here as well, right? And we're trying to figure it out, right? But bullish on this one. Okay, so we'll see if we get a fundamental catalyst to move it, but we continue to push back down. This move back down was in line with that Aussie data that came out yesterday. So we'll see how the rest of the week finishes out. Come down to the 1. Here's your 1 hour setup. That was posted in the community. Boom. Right. So we pulled back into that range, still inside the AB boundary on the 1 hour as well. So opportunity to get long here. Nice risk to reward setup. If you're not already long, just sitting allowing it to play out. There's an opportunity for a C to D move, right? On the 1 hour, matching extension is 67,870. I'm sorry, no, 67,559. Okay, so we'll watch that there, but I'm still sitting listening to the upside. Okay, so range bound, but looking for a catalyst to move it back to the upside. Questions here? Still holding joy. Beautiful. Great work. Great work. No, no questions.
Hey, Ryan,
Yes, sir.
yeah, can you go back to the daily?
Yes.
And is there a possible crown at the end of that price action?
Ah, might actually be. Let's see. Crown or head and shoulders. Let's see. We did slightly take out that. Actually, no, come back. Am I right here?
Yeah,
Might be head and shoulders there. It looks like we came equal to that. Yeah, it looks like we came equal to that left side. So good eye on that, Jeremy. So we'll look at that on the lower time frame too. See. Good eye on that, bro. So let's see what that looks like on the 4. Right here. Definitely got the potential, my man. Good eye. Good eye. Right? See if we get that to form, turn over, and move back to the upside. Yep, great work, Jim. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. So let's
nice.
back it like this. Boom. There we go. That'll put us at least back to 67,451. And then we'll see what happens at that resistance level. Great work. Great work, man. 7's in the chat for Jeremy. We need we need some sound effects. Some sound effects. Some cheers and some bull horns. Uh that'd be funny. So there we go. All right. Any other questions on this Euro Aussie? Cha-ching. Yep, yep. I like that. I like that. No
I'm
questions.
I'm definitely interested to see, how the zero continues to play out with the anticipation of these cuts coming, because that's what caused the boost in that sentiment.
Yeah, man.
Uh, but
What are you thinking?
uh, they're calling for it, but I don't know. I like a lot of these, it seems like a lot of the scenarios tend to like follow each other. Like before, the Fed, people, we went from 6 rate cuts that the market was thinking, which we all kind of thought that was kind of crazy, to the Fed saying, hey, we're scheduled for 3 rate cuts, to now maybe one, possibly none. We've had
Yeah,
that happen. We had that happen with some with some other central banks. So it's kind of like, when it gets close to the decision, do we get data that
that
comes out
supports it.
before that makes them think twice about that?
Yeah.
So you could kind of see it being priced in now, the anticipation for the rate cut. Again, that's what the sentiment out of
Yeah.
Germany, part of that reason was, hey, the anticipation of rate cuts, we see their stock market rallying a bit in anticipation of that. But
Mm-hmm.
we know things have been changing on a dime. So I think that's why you continue to see the back and forth. Like, it hasn't completely tailed off, especially with getting a boost out of the Australian dollar, from the latest data out of Australia. But you can see how that euro is still kind of holding. It hasn't completely collapsed.
Right.
So, that's what's got me kind of like, man, which way is this euro gonna go? You
Yeah,
know,
dude.
because that if they decide to to hold after this high anticipation of a cut, then we know that's going to cause issues with the market. But that euro won't continue to weaken though.
Yeah.
You know.
And then on the other side, you have some ECB members saying, regardless of the data, we're going to at least cut once.
Yes, I'm hearing that.
So it's
I'm hearing that. So it's so weird right now. Because typically I would just fall in line like, man, these cuts are coming, but it just hasn't always been the case.
yeah.
It just hasn't always been the case. So I've been highly skeptical, because there's so many things going on surrounding that situation. And so some people, oh, we'll hold. We're not going to raise, but we're going to hold one more time. So maybe that cut doesn't come in as early as June. Maybe they hold again. It's going to be data. It's going to be data dependent. And like you said, you have some members, saying that like regardless, they feel like inflation is ultimately going in the direction they needed to go. So, but
Yeah.
yeah.
We shall see, man. It's
Mhm.
definitely going to be an interesting track, and it's crazy. But we've been saying it since we got started in 2020. Like the times that we're living through are extremely interesting, and in my lifetime, I don't know that we've seen anything quite like the combination of things that we've seen in the recent past. Um, but it's interesting to trade through these times, right? You learn so much from the different scenarios and how they play out. Because history leaves clues, right? And patterns. So it's interesting to see how all of these scenarios kind of layer on top of each other in each country. You said all the time we're way more connected than people give it credit for. Um, so it's interesting to see how things continue to move.
Yeah, and because of that, I think it's causing more volatility. I think it's shortening. It's causing the market cycles to shorten. You
Yeah,
know, we go from highs to lows, lows to highs a lot faster. We cycle through it seems like a lot faster. Um, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But then you have things that are impactful. Like ever since they made the surprise rate cut, the Swiss National Bank, you see the impact of that. Like that's been for weeks now, right? Well,
yep,
we've seen that what we saw the correction get caused because of the risk off situation, but for the most part, our Swiss, weakness idea has continued to play out. So, you see the large and long lasting impact, something like a surprise rate cut could have on the currency.
yeah, yeah. That's truth, bro. That's truth, man. We shall see. We shall see. Just 4 years ago was all simple. Now prices all over the place. Yeah. Yeah.
But the sequence continues to play out though.
That's exactly what I was about to say. The sequence continues to play out, right? You see 80/20s, you see deep retracements, and then ultimately price continues to move, right? Price continues to move. Boom. Continues to play out. Continues to play out. Beautiful game. Beautiful game we play. All right. We'll end on this euro dollar. Um, Another one that we were looking at, retracements, right? Boom, crown pattern on the daily time frame, price pressing to the downside. Right, we had a crown within a crown. The smaller crown played out. We getting a pullback now, right? And then we'll look for continuation. So as it come down to the 4, boom, there you go, right? Deep retracement, 8-6 level, boom, de-extension achieved. Now we're pulling back, right? We're coming back. We broke this key level at 107, 179, right? We'll see if we're able to stay below that. We might push above temporarily into this 50% 618 range, right? But we're pulling back here, right? So we come down to the 1. This one just missed that 118 level, right? But shallow retracement, broke the B boundary, just missed entry opportunity there. Boom. Right? So we turned over on the 1, but let's watch and see, right? It's going to move with the dollar, right? If the dollar continues to retrace, just like the Aussie dollar, we can see this push to the upside one more time, right? So we'll watch that and see if we get another move long before we're ready to turn over and push back down to the downside. But off this move here, beautiful move long, and now we'll watch price. If we stay below this 107, 179 and not able to break above, right, then we'll look for some short opportunities. But I believe there is a chance for us to make a move like that and then get some downward action like that. So we'll watch and see. But that was another beautiful move to the upside. We're just sitting waiting patiently for that additional confirmation on the high price to then get back short. Right. So if the dollar to finish this retracement, and then we'll look for some opportunities there. Okay. Questions on the euro dollar?
No.
Questions on anything that we covered this morning? No. Benny, any final thoughts, bro, before we wrap it up?
Hey, as always, continue to be patient. Let the sequence play out, right? Develop that discipline now, because before you know it, when you do grow that account, right, or you're trading with an opportunity with a prop or a hedge fund or whatnot, you have the ability to then take very low risk, sit in a position, and let that position run, and make a lot of money as a result, right? Of being patient and letting the trade swing. So develop that discipline now, because it really pays off later. My mentor, the chief, used to always say, once you start trading the standard, you never want to go backwards from there. So just keep that in mind. Always keep that in the back of your mind of not where you are now, but where you're aiming and seeking to go, right? Just the big picture thinking. Okay, so can't say it enough. Develop that discipline and patience now. That's it. Great session, Ryan.
Develop it now. Develop it now. What does it feel like? What does it feel like to live that future life? Right? Resonate with that feeling. Good people. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning with my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session. You guys have a phenomenal day. Go find your 1%. Peace.
Thank you.